Part 1. Telltales. Chapter 1. The sniper had a partner. That was a given. To do the job properly, which meant not only making the hit, but also escaping, the shooter needed eyes in the back of his head. All the time he sighted through the scope on his Remington .308 rifle, which he loved more than anything else in the world, he needed the freedom to concentrate only on the job at hand, an area of a few inches 700 yards away, and that meant he needed a spotter to concentrate on the objects around him, whether a threat was approaching from the side, whether a cloud was about to cast a shadow, whether something or someone was about to obscure the target. He needed a partner he could depend on, who shared his instincts, who knew what he was thinking. A lot of marriages weren't as close. They hiked in from the neighboring valley, taking the most remote route through the roughest terrain so they wouldn't be noticed. Aerial photographs aligned with topographical maps showed the slopes that had the best cover, while still providing a line of fire toward the target. Moving cautiously along the tree-capped ridges, they rejected 2 vantage points, chose the 3rd, sank behind boulders, opened their backpacks, and assembled their equipment. Chapter 2. Telltales. In Kavanaugh's former line of work, noticing them had kept him alive. Runners and gunners tended to have identifying characteristics, baseball caps covering their military-style short hair, for example. The cropped hair wasn't a macho fetish, rather it was a hygienic necessity, because they couldn't predict where they'd be assigned, possibly a desert, possibly a swamp. Contrary to the famous speech in Lawrence of Arabia about how clean the desert is, sand could be almost as insect-infested as a swamp, making long hair a likely nest. Similarly, runners and gunners never wore loafers, but instead had thick-soled lace-up shoes that could serve as weapons and wouldn't fall off in a fight. They liked fanny packs and loose-fitting casual clothes that gave them numerous places to hide weapons. They needed a thick belt to support the weight of a hidden pistol and ammunition magazines. They had an inconspicuous black metal clip over the outside of a pants pocket. The clip was attached to a folding knife that could be easily drawn and flicked open with the press of a thumb against a stud on the back of the blade. They were fond of safari vests, the kind with numerous pockets, ideal for hiding weapons. For the same reason, they liked pants that had extra pockets at the outside of the knees. But attention to detail was itself a telltale. Most people stumbled through life in a state of profound inattention that noted handgun expert Jeff Cooper called condition white. In contrast, Kavanaugh maintained a state of persistent alertness known as condition yellow. It was second nature to him. Whenever he left or entered a new space, a vehicle or a building, for instance, he always paused and scanned his new environment, assessing whether it presented threats. He was a connoisseur of mismatched details. If something didn't fit an expected pattern, internal alarms sounded. But it takes one to know one, and in a society of minimal consciousness, someone with condition yellow attention is so uncommon that he or she becomes a mismatched detail. In the present case, the 2 men spotted Kavanaugh about the same time he spotted them. This was at an isolated gas station convenience store 20 miles from Kavanaugh's ranch. The place had a log cabin style that was popular in Wyoming's Jackson Hole Valley. As he had driven north from doing errands in Jackson, the names of the town and the valley were often confused, he had noticed that the fuel gauge on his Taurus was below halfway. In the remote area where he lived, he never allowed it to get any lower, so he steered from Route 89 and headed along the sagebrush-flanked road toward the pumps. It took him only a moment to notice the 2 men watching him. They stood across from him in front of the convenience store. They were in their late 20s, not tall, not short.